Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way to get up in the morning than to get up with Garret. Garret is a third-generation success credentialed real estate entrepreneur here to give you tips and share stories of success. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Garret Bedford.
Good morning, Dougie. How we doing, buddy? Are we getting any sleep there as a newborn?
Absolutely not.
Daddy of a newborn? No?
Absolutely
I
not.
remember those days. Every 3 hours, the baby's got to eat, right?
Yep. I mean, we're lucky. She is a good baby, so she just cries, eats, and then goes back to sleep. She's not like crying constantly. So
She's a good baby. You're not going to return her to the belly, right?
Not
you're
yet.
Gonna keep her?
Yeah, not yet.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in and joining us today. We're coming live from Hedges at Hawthorne here at 204 Wagger Road. We are 3 weeks out from starting our tours to the public, and we are rocking and rolling. If you hear any F-bombs in the background, I apologize in advance. We have an active work site. There's like a door being installed right behind me. But I wanted to come to everyone live, showing that we got some action going on, and we're hopping around, and we're thrilled, we're excited, and we can't wait to finish this building. The team from Marge Construction is working hard to get us across the finish line, and we're excited to share this opportunity with the community. I just want to remind everybody, if you are interested in being involved in living and having your home here in Hawthorne at Hedges at Hawthorne, you should check out our webpage, hedgesathawthorne.com. You can put your name on our waiting list, and that is the best way to let us know that you are serious and interested. And you can say if you're looking for a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, how you heard about the show. There's your link right down there. Put a little note, heard about it on Garrett's podcast. We always love to see that. That brings a big smile. And also when you're interested in moving in, that will be helpful as we start going through the wait list and of course the checklist. And it's fun. I mean, yesterday I was here, they're finishing up the carpets in the first hallway. All the millwork is pretty much done. Now we're just kind of doing a lot of punch listing. There's little blue pieces of tape everywhere, which tells us where we need to clean up and fix and, spackle and paint. And, there's probably 40 people here right now kicking ass and taking names. So we're thrilled with the speed of trying to get to the finish line. And, you have to have urgency, and it's important how you finish, not just in anything in business. It's not just how you start. You've got to get across the finish line. We talk about that a lot on the show. So we're thrilled about that. The other thing I wanted to mention, Doug, is I have to be careful how I discuss this, but the family is always in the mode of meeting new investors, right? So if you are someone who is what's called an accredited investor, which means you have, I think it has to do with your income level. I think it's $250,000 between you and your wife per year, or a net worth of assets of $1 million. You can reach out to us at bedrin.com, www.bedrin.com. I can't discuss specifics about any specific investment opportunity, but we are very close on a number of different opportunities right now. So this would be the time to set up a consultation if you have an interest in passive investing in commercial real estate assets. We'd be happy to get to know you a little bit better and understand your needs, and if you're an accredited investor. So when the time is right, we could discuss the appropriate offering. So that's exciting. And I don't know about you, Doug, but the NBA is starting to really pick up. Sometimes these seasons are so long between baseball and the NBA that the regular season gets a little diluted. But they figured out a way to keep it really interesting. To me, this is the real March Madness, because you got like 10 or 12 games left in the NBA. In the Western Conference, I think there's like 13 teams that can make the playoffs, and they're only 5 or 6 games apart. And so they're going to have this great play-in tournament. I was watching the Warriors last night. They got a huge road win against the Mavericks that they really needed. And there's just not much separating like the number 4 seed to the number 10 seed. It's insane. Have you been following along when you wake up in the middle of the night?
Yeah, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. But happy that the Knicks are doing well. That's definitely a change than norm. So it's good to see a local team doing pretty good. They won like 9 wins in a row or something.
Yeah, it's great when the local teams. Really? They won
Yeah.
9 in a row, the Knicks? That's great. That's great. And can you still see me and hear me okay, Doug?
I can. How are you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm working off the good old Verizon signal here, so I'm not sure how good the Verizon signal, but it still tells me it's going live.
Yep, I hear and see you. You're good. Do you hear me?
Because I hear you just a little choppy, but as long as you hear me, that's fine.
All right.
And I could always try I could turn the Wi-Fi on if I have to.
Brian.
Anyway, so we're excited about.
Go Lakers. Brian saying "Go Lakers," just so you know.
Wow, Brian. Wow. Yeah, I see it. I didn't know Brian Berman was a Laker fan. We actually met 20 years ago working for the Golden State Warriors. So shout out to Brian and his wife and his beautiful family. Really appreciate our time together. Actually, I was not married and didn't have any kids, so they were great to me, and just a great couple, great family. So it's been exciting to watch his career develop as well. But I know he's really a Warrior fan, just posing as a Laker fan. So what else is going on in your world, Doug? How's any cool marketing updates? Anything new that you've been working on that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, there is Facebook Reels is really taken off. So that's like a product that we're really helping and pushing with our clients. Because not many people know how to even upload Facebook Reels. So these things are always changing, and we're always staying on top of it. But you really got to just taste test and always be putting something out.
Yeah, I think entrepreneurs forget that. Like, there's no perfect handbook. It's very much trial and error, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one day it's Facebook, and then it's TikTok, and then it's Instagram Reels, and it's Snapchat, and your business changes, and you've got to be willing to be elastic and flexible. It's funny. My wife Jessica's really good with Instagram Reels. She makes reels all the time. Loves doing cute dog reels of Daisy and Charlie. And she just made a killer reel. We were in Nashville for a little couples weekend, and I had never been. It was a hell of a time. There were so many great bands that are up and coming, and you would go to these little bars and watch them, and they're walking around trying to be discovered and taking song requests for tips. And I connected with a couple of them on Instagram, and just really appreciate those guys and those women that were hustling. That's definitely a highly recommended place to go. There's a lot of kind of like bachelorette parties and 40th birthdays and things like that. Baby moons, I guess. And we just saw some great people, and it's all walkable downtown, really safe and clean areas. So we had a great time in Nashville. And that just reminded me when you said the reels. It also reminds me there's a lot of talk still going around about TikTok, and will the U.S. ban TikTok? I happen to think that would be a great move, and that could have a huge effect on certainly Facebook or Google or Snapchat, because TikTok is owned by this company ByteDance, and the Chinese version. When you have a company in China, you basically have to agree that you turn over all of your data to the Chinese government. So at any time they can come in and take your data, and that's a real problem. I mean, TikTok basically knows where like 100 million Americans are doing and where they're going all the time. And the reason why that becomes an issue is because they can, in their algorithms, send you certain information, right? Like you may see news stories about certain politicians, or you may see news stories about medical things, right? Like vaccines or COVID. And if they want to keep sending you the same kind of story and the same angle, that's all your brain's going to remember. And so they're kind of manipulating you, and that's really unhealthy, obviously for especially young people too, who their brains are still developing. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if you saw some type of ban of TikTok. I think the kids would be disappointed, but where do you think they would jump over to next? Do you think they'd go to Facebook Reels instead, or Instagram Reels?
I mean, we already see it, and that's kind of like the thing that we just touched based on is like this climate's always changing. So just when you kind of figure it out, there's a new update, there's a new feature, right? So, and Instagram is the king of is the king of copying. So, when Snapchat came out and had like, the messages that went away after 24 hours, the post that went away, for Instagram took that and made Instagram stories. So like they're always copying and taking. Instagram Reels, I feel like, has made big strides in competing with TikTok. I think TikTok is losing its edge a little bit. It's still huge. Don't get me wrong. It was the fastest growing app, but now, Instagram is really competing with it. And I think, if there was a ban or anything were to happen, people will just, continue to use Instagram. But there'll always be another app. There'll always be another feature. And like, that's the crazy thing about this industry is like, just when you think you figured it out, it changes all up on you. And, not too long ago, the CEO of Instagram came out and said, we're no longer a photo sharing app. Everyone went nuts because Instagram was a photo sharing app. And they're putting all their time and resources into video. So that's like, one of the reasons why our clients are doing so well is because like we're kind of we just do what the algorithms ask for. So like we're going live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. It's helping the algorithm. It's helping. We could easily record this and put it up, but it's a lot more fun to go live. We can interact with people out there and make it more of a community. But at the same time, it's also bonus points because we're doing what these algorithms want. Some people, get stubborn and they'll be like, well, I like to post my pictures. That's great. But like, you're not going to get the reach and the output that you should.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It reminds me when they launched Jaws 2 or Jaws 3, they were like, just when it's safe to return to the water. You've got to be willing to adapt, right? You never know. You think you mastered TikTok and then something changes.
And then Jaws 3D comes out.
There you go. So I think I'm ready to bring in our special guest today because we have a little bit of a limited time this morning. And I wanted to introduce a friend of mine who is a real entrepreneur. And not only is an entrepreneur, but also has a deep belief in health and wellness. And I think everyone knows I talk a lot about health is wealth and how important health and wellness are attributes to your long-term ability to live a great life and enjoy your kids and your grandkids. And, a lot of what we talk about at Hedges at Hawthorne centers around a healthy lifestyle, right? Having a Planet Fitness here, having great natural lighting and a lot of natural woods, and being together as part of the community and being enriched. So I want to introduce a friend of mine. He goes by the name Jake Feury, spells it Fury, but you should fear him because he's fearless. And Jake is the owner of a great company where I'm also a customer. That also sounds like another pitch I've heard before. It's called Stretch Recovery Lounge. And Jake has 5 locations in New Jersey. And I'd like to welcome Jake to the show. Are you there, Jake? Are you enjoying the green room?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Good morning. Great to see you and appreciate you joining the Get Up with Garret show. So let me see if I got this straight. You have 5 Stretch Recovery Lounge locations in Tenafly, Ridgewood, Westfield, Montclair, and you just recently opened your Hoboken store?
Yep, that's correct. We opened Hoboken about 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations, man. That's amazing. I mean, getting one store open is a challenge, right? Getting 2 stores is a challenge. To get to 5 locations, I really take my hat off to you because that's, you're a young guy and you had a vision and you kind of went for it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But just by definition, being an entrepreneur, you're not affiliated with a big national franchise or a big national brand. You've created this yourself with your team. And I just think that's admirable. So congratulations to you. I discovered you guys maybe a year ago. I just started to feel like I was getting massage a lot and obviously working out, but I felt like I was missing something. I was still really, inflexible, not flexible, unflexible. And I was like struggling when I was on the floor playing with the kids. I just didn't feel like I was really having a great range of motion. And I happened to drive by, I think in Ridgewood by Whole Foods, and I saw your name and I was like, you know what? I think it said 1 stretch free or first stretch free. I said, let me pop in here and check it out. And I was just blown away by how I felt and how nice the people were, how clean the facility was. And it's made a big difference in my life. I was already there once this week. I'm going again later this week. And I can touch my toes now. I was showing my kids last night. they're dancing around at night, and now I can be more comfortable on the floor. And, I don't want to be this 89-year-old grandfather who, can barely walk. So let's talk about, how did you come up with this plan? I think your background, you were a rugby player, right?
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I've played rugby at a competitive level for a long time, and I used to kind of fall more into the camp of overworking in terms of resistance training, strength training, conditioning, and not focusing as much on recovery. A lot of times, I think young athletes or even just younger people in general don't quite realize the importance of that aspect of that part of your training. Really, recovery should be a part of any training program. And so as a result of overuse and not focusing on those areas, I started to get some injuries in college, start to pick up little things here and there with soft tissue, joint problems. And it all kind of came to a head with a back injury I had when I was about 20 years old. And basically 2 fractures in my L5 vertebrae. Definitely one of the most difficult injuries I ever had to go through. And it took me forever. I was waking up every day with debilitating back pain. Couldn't really do anything exercise-wise because your spine is so critical to any type of movement. And I was trying all sorts of things, such as traditional physical therapy or chiropractic work, trying to do a lot of core training as well. But ultimately, like, those things helped, but they didn't get me all the way to the finish line. So that's when I started to get obsessed with the idea of stretching. I was convinced that if I could get more mobility in my hips, my psoas, my hamstrings, then at that point I would be able to get back into rugby and get rid of this back pain. And so I kind of was ruthless on attacking that and focusing on stretching. And I credit most of my recovery to stretching. And since then, I've kind of just kept it as a part of my life, and it's really helped me keep my body moving and feeling good as I've gotten older, and that was 8 years ago that I had that injury. So luckily I haven't had anything quite like that since.
That's amazing. That's very familiar. I had an Achilles injury 10 years ago, and I tell people I was climbing Mount Everest, but I was just taking a boot camp class in the Hamptons, and I was the only guy. And I had to attack the recovery at physical therapy. Like, I was there 3 or 4 days a week. I would stretch at home, and I took the attitude, like, physical therapy is now my career, and to hear you say the words, you had to attack it. Like, that's how you have to be in anything in life, right? Like, if you want to have a successful personal relationship, you've got to put everything into it with your wife, your kids, your friend, whoever it is, right? If you want to have a successful business, like, you have to attack it. You can't wait for things to come to you. I always tell my producer, Pat, you go out there, and you attack, and you go get what you want. You don't wait for things to come to you in life. And that goes when it comes to rehabbing an injury, right? And taking care of yourself, and also being proactive in your physical and your mental health. So now take me through, what was the launch like? Where did you, I actually forgot, was it Montclair that was the first location?
Ridgewood was our first one in October 2019.
Oh, Ridgewood. Okay, so about 3.5 years ago. And what was the process like? Did you drive by and say, you know what, I can do this here in Ridgewood? Did you kind of think maybe I would do it out of someone's house at first, or like a mobile? Tell me about, because that's pretty revolutionary. I mean, there really wasn't anyone doing anything like that at that time. I don't believe.
Yeah. So it took a bit of time. I mean, I had a corporate job in New York City. I used to work for the National Football League in their New York City headquarters. So basically, I was kind of I was working there full time, and I really was interested in taking a step and stepping away to do something entrepreneurial. And this was a really good fit. And I didn't invent assisted stretching or anything like that. This concept has been around. People have been stretching for years and years and years. But bringing it into like more of a retail setting is kind of just like a newer twist on a existing concept. So there were other places in other parts of the country that had services like this. And so kind of nights and weekends when I was at the NFL, I kind of just did some market research. I was looking into other other places, connecting with people who worked in the industry, just kind of gathering some information, familiarizing myself with like how this business can work and how it can run. And then, I grew up in Morris County in Denville, so I'm familiar with North Jersey. Just knowing all the different towns and the areas, I felt that Ridgewood was a place where this could be successful. Really big focus on health and wellness there. And that's where ultimately I decided to start the first place. So really the way it worked was, I was kind of starting to look at locations. My last month or so at the NFL, I drove around town in Ridgewood, just looked at all the storefronts, found one that was open, gave them a call, negotiated the deal. And then, I left my job August 31st of 2019. And then after that, we got our lease started October 1st, and we had our grand opening party on October 4th. So we moved super quick. Yeah. I just had all my ducks in a row. I had like everything lined up for those first 4 days because I was a scared person who just quit his only form of income and didn't have much savings. I was 25 at the time. So I didn't have time to pay rent while we weren't open. So
right, you had to be open.
We did that. Yeah, we had to be open. So that's why we just moved super quick. Yeah.
Incredible story. So you hear that, Doug? Sometimes you just absolutely, you put it on the line, you go for it, and you have no other option. There is no option of failure. And it sounded like that really motivated Jake. And I love the fact, Jake, that you did your own little mini focus group. Like, even though it may not have been hiring some fancy, expensive consultant, that doesn't matter. You took advantage of your circumstances, right? You were at the NFL, probably around a number of people who cared about health and wellness, stretching, physical fitness, right? I don't know if you had a chance to talk to some of the athletes, but at least the people in your building, some of them were probably former athletes or just tuned into what athletes talk about, so that you were able to use your existing circumstances and kind of get some great information that would be helpful to you in how to program and launch this business. And traveling around the country and seeing other areas where they offer this, that's something that I have to do when I'm looking at designing a building. I'll go and take photos when I'm in North Carolina or visiting investors in Maryland. And those ideas come back into other projects in the future, kind of creating this bank, this reserve bank of ideas. You should always be kind of thinking about your future ideas. Take photos, save them on your iPhone, put them in an album called Future Ideas. I'm shocked that I didn't realize how fast you launched that. Like, it's really hard to open a retail store. And, I think our good friend Ramon Hache, who used to be the mayor of Ridgewood, will tell you it's even harder to open in Ridgewood. So the fact that you got that done quickly and were able to get going, I mean, you had no other choice, man. So that's crazy. So to open the store in Ridgewood, what type of capital did that take? Is that, you did new floors, new lighting, paint? Take me through kind of, was that a $50,000 investment, a $100,000 investment, a $5,000 investment? Take us through what you had to go through to get the first one going.
So I didn't have that type of capital available. So one of the credentials I was looking for was a place that was move-in ready. So that's one of the reasons it didn't cost too much. Over in Ridgewood, for example, we were able to keep the floors. We didn't have to put up any walls. We didn't have to do any framing or lighting or electrical. The only thing we did for that particular space was paint. So some of the other places, we've had to do a little bit more. But in general, since I don't own any of the buildings, I try to avoid like putting too much into the space if I don't need to, right? If there's two different options out there that are pretty similar, and one of them doesn't involve any construction, I'm generally going to take that option. So as far as costs, it really was just about having reserves for as much as you can for just for
rent the first few months.
For first couple months while you're building up membership base, and just our equipment, which isn't too capital intensive. We have some tables, we have a hydroculator for heating pads, furniture, cabinets, supplies, things like that. So in general, you're looking at like 25,000 about for all the stuff. And then, I mean, ideally you would want to have like a reserve, as I would say at least that amount. But, you know, in my case, I definitely pushed the envelope a little bit on that front and kind of just took a bet on making it work. And I was working a ton myself, so my payroll wasn't that heavy at the beginning because I was just working 1 million hours a week at first, and I still work 1 million hours a week. But that's the way I made it work at the beginning.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like somebody to open up their first location could really bootstrap it, and you know, you could probably put 10, 15 grand on a credit card to buy some of the tables or heating machines. It's not like it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I mean, this is something that you can put together quickly. Were you nervous about negotiating a lease? I mean, I do that all day long and have a ton of experience. I would think from the other side, that's pretty overwhelming. I mean, how did you feel going through that process, and who helped you with that?
Yeah, the first one was a little tough, just because it was my first time doing it. So I had an aunt that's a lawyer who thankfully she helped me out and took a look at it. At this point now, though, I mean, I have no legal training, but I do all the leases myself. I don't call for legal help anymore in terms of leases. I just kind of read them and work it out between me and the landlord, or if they have a broker, I utilize their broker. Sure. So yeah, that's another way that I've saved some money. I try to do as many things myself as I can.
That's great entrepreneurial advice, Doug. You know, try to do as many things. I mean, Jake was stretching people. He's taking calls. He's signing up memberships. He's painting. You know, you do it all in the beginning. You have to, right? There's no secret war chest hidden there in the walls. That would be a great location if you found that one. And then as you grow, right? As you grow, obviously, then you can kind of ramp up slowly. And you know, I know you've hired some great people. I loved working with Herman, and he's been a great manager, and some of the other staff members, Marissa, and everyone's been really great to work with at your company. What do you guys do regarding software? Did you partner up with the MindBody team in terms of like an app, or was there another group you went with? Talk a little bit about if somebody were launching, you know, a stretch facility or maybe a small yoga studio or a small Reiki studio. I mean, I think that all kind of falls under the same type of scheduling membership program. Talk a little bit about what you did there.
Yeah. So as far as the software goes, we've been with MindBody since day one. We went with them pretty much just because they're the biggest and most popular. I don't know if that always means that they're the best. But that's what we went with. I was familiar with them from a consumer side because I had used their app for booking yoga classes and things like that myself. So yeah, we've been with MindBody. They handle a lot of our, you know, software type stuff. So we run our payment processing through their third party partner. We do all of our scheduling through them. We do our email blasts through them. We do all of our data and reporting all gets come through there, so we can see sales numbers, membership numbers, you know, utilization rates, a lot of different types of things. So we've been with them since day one. It's definitely been helpful, and those types of resources are out there. They do make you know, people starting a business a lot easier because they handle a lot of things a lot quicker than, you know, if I had to do a lot of that stuff without their software, would be really difficult.
Right. So this is great. I mean, I think, Doug, people get kind of nervous and scared about all the different things they have to buy and purchase when they're launching a new business. But the reality is that there are a lot of software companies out there that, you know, for a reasonable monthly fee, everything is done in the cloud, and it's your CRM, it's your email blasts, it's your scheduling, it's your billing. I mean, imagine if Jake had to go spend, you know, 50 grand buying some computer systems and then it became outdated. That would really slow him down. MindBody, most people don't even know this, but MindBody is like the biggest scheduling company in health and fitness. They're behind, you know, the Orange Theories of the world and a lot of these other big companies that you see. You don't know it because it's branded as another company, but they're the back end. So the fact that they have a kind of entrepreneurial option where a first timer like Jake can use, or someone else opening a small yoga studio and not have to worry about spending all that money or hiring multiple people, I think that's fabulous. And I use the software when I book out, and then I get a text, right? Like, hey, Gary, you got to confirm you have a stretch appointment coming up. So it's very responsive in letting me know. Now, what do you charge? Tell me a little bit about the pricing again. It's been a while since I remember. And I know you have 25-minute stretches, you have 50-minute or 55-minute, and then you have packages or memberships. Let's just do a quick overview on that.
Yeah. So, well, one thing I pride ourselves on is we're super transparent. All of our options are on the website. I've never understood why a lot of places don't do that. If you want to go check out what prices and options are, you have to like call them or go in and figure it out that way. So everything's, for anybody listening, if you want to go check it out, everything's on the website. But basically, we do 25-minute sessions and we do 55-minute sessions. Any local first-time client gets a complimentary first stretch to try it out, see if it's something they're interested in. And during that session is when we give them an assessment, we evaluate. It's a bit of a consult. And based on what we see, we'll recommend a certain plan for them. Whether, how long of a session do they need, how many times per week, and then based on that, we'll recommend which membership or package option aligns with our frequency and duration recommendation. So, we do the membership options are the best value, which is essentially just a monthly fee for a certain allotment of stretches. Or there's also, for people who prefer one-time payment options, there are single sessions you could buy, or you can buy packages of 5 or 10. Basically, the bigger memberships are the best value per stretch. Then the smaller memberships, and then the packages are kind of the next tier below in terms of value per stretch, with the bigger packages obviously costing less per stretch than like the smaller packages or the single session. Got it.
And people can come. I mean, Doug, it's not just for after an injury for rehab. I mean, you certainly have a group of people that I see there doing that. But, there's also a lot of people that go for preventative maintenance, which is kind of what I go for. I look at it as my body is like a car, right? And, what you put into it, your food is like your gasoline, or maybe your electric, if Elon Musk is watching. And, you've got to kind of change the tires and the oil and all that good stuff. And, working out, eating, getting good sleep, and stretching, massage, all those things, blood flow, keeping your stress level. I've been reading a lot about not just building muscle mass and having good cardio health, but also like keeping your stress down. That is such a big reason for heart disease is people are so overstressed. And, I try to pride myself being balanced and being more calm. And when I have big wins, I try to stay level. And when I have big downs, I try to stay level, because, the stress really could hurt your body, and not, mental health, physical health. And I found the stretching is calming, it's relaxing, and it helps me kind of ground myself. And I've really enjoyed, using your facilities. Last kind of question for you before we wrap up. How are you acquiring new customers? Is your method to be heavily focused on downtown traffic, where you have literally people walk by and say, oh, first stretch free, I'll try it out? Or are you spending money on Google, Facebook, Instagram ads, TV, radio? What type of budget do you have?
So most of our customers come through our social ads on Facebook and Instagram. That's the lion's share of where we acquire new customers from. That being said, we do try to position our locations in high traffic areas. So we do get some walk by traffic or drive by traffic, or being across the street from something that gets a lot of traffic, such as a train station or like a Whole Foods, a place that,
Sure,
should be attracting a similar clientele to what would like our service. We do a lot of community events, which, the ROI there isn't necessarily like super quantifiable, but I just think in general, there is a kind of community marketing effect, and that is positive for us and our brand. So, we get involved with the chamber, and whenever the town is like running some sort of festival or something like that, we get ourselves involved,
right.
Or whether it's connecting with local groups and sports teams and things like that. So, we're kind of hitting at a few different fronts with both the paid media as well as the more community and grassroots type of customer acquisition.
Yeah, I agree. Doug, it sounds like, like Hawthorne Day, going to those great events. It's hard to see an exact return on your investment specifically,
Mhm.
but I always feel like you're putting these little gold coins in that bank, and you're investing in kind of how people feel about, how you're involved in your community goes a long way, I think, in how younger people are making decisions with their money. And if
Mhm.
the more they see you active at the community, giving back your time, I think goes a long way in how they think about you as a brand and as a company. Doug, are you seeing your clients step up some of that stuff as well?
Yeah, and you have to. So like the average number is, your average customer needs to see you 7 times before they even think about doing business with you. So, a lot of people question like, oh, should I be doing social media? Yeah, you gotta be everywhere. And in today's world, I feel like Instagram has replaced websites. So if someone said like, "Hey, have you heard about Jake and Stretch?" First thing they're gonna do is like go to his Instagram page. Like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok is like the storefront, is like the neon signs on. If you're walking down Main Street, it's like your billboard. And then when people learn to trust you and get to know you, your website's more of your cash register. It's like where they go to check out, right? So
Interesting. And we
you want
should, Doug, this may be a good time to show Jake's Instagram. Did we do that yet?
absolutely let's do
Let's
that.
put that up, right? Stretch Recovery Lounge. If you want to follow Jake and his business and look at some of the history and meet some of the stretch professionals, you'll see their faces on there, and you'll learn a little bit more about the business. And I'm sure there's links on there to call the different locations and set up your appointment. Now, tell them you heard about it on the Get Up with Garret podcast, and they will give you your first stretch for free. Okay, this is a great promo they're running exclusively
Only
for our
Garret.
listeners. Absolutely. And it's so funny. One of the things I always tell our producer Pat, I know he's watching today, is that if people want to do business with you and they want to invest with you, they have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. And I think what you've learned today from Jake is that he's transparent with his pricing, right? So he's saying, hey, here's what it costs. Here's the time. You can go check it out. We'll give you the product for free to try it out because we believe in it. We know it's a great service and a great product. And he's likable. And when you're involved in the community, that's how you get to know people. So I think sometimes entrepreneurs focus too much on what's the exact ROI, return on investment, on a specific marketing project. But you have to remember, you're putting those little gold coins in that bank of liking you and knowing you and trusting you. So that's important. So don't forget that. Dougie, any other questions for Jake before we wrap up here?
No, it's great. I definitely drove past in Ridgewood. We're right close to Ridgewood, so it's a great spot. Right across the street from Whole Foods. Great. Jake's a great guy, and you definitely should go over there and check him out.
It's awesome, and I hope we can invite. I told Jake I want to invite him over to the Hedges to come and check out and offer some stretches to our community here. We have a great little salon space. We have Planet Fitness. We have another mini little fitness center. So I'm hoping Jake will come by and meet some of the residents after we open and maybe do some cross promotions. I know he loves doing things like that. Doug, do you have the music? Can we do a quick lightning round for Jake? Can we pull that off on the fly?
Absolutely.
And Jake, we're going to keep it nice and easy, nice and light. Don't overstress. Just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Just a couple questions. We love to blitz our guests. Are you up for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
All right. I don't hear anything, Dougie. I need to hear the tick tick in my ear to know it's on.
You hear it?
There it is. Okay. All right, Jake, give me a business book that you would recommend, or something you're reading or read that you'd recommend up and coming entrepreneurs.
Profit First.
Okay,
I don't remember.
Perfect.
It's a good book.
We'll look it up. Jake, what was your first concert and your best concert?
First concert was AC/DC at what was formerly called the Continental Airlines Arena. And I was about like 4th grade for that. That was awesome. And then best concert, I would say Turnpike Troubadours at Red Rocks out in Colorado.
Wow, I learned something new every day. One of the things I really want to do, what the hell's that, Dougie?
It's coming. There you go.
one of the things I want to do, Jake, is I want to go to outer space. I got to see the curvature of the Earth. If you and I were to go together, would you prefer who takes us? Elon Musk, Richard Branson, or Jeff Bezos?
Ooh, I'm a Bezos guy. So
okay,
Bezos
so we're going with
me.
Bezos. Okay, all right, fine. And last question: I always post funny vanity car plates when I see different people's got funny license plates. So if you had to give me a funny license plate or a funny Instagram handle, you know, give me one that you've seen recently that made you chuckle, or that would describe yourself.
Oh, well, for me, I would just go Stretch. Always got to rep the brand. So Stretch would be my vanity plate for sure.
All right. So you guys, if you see Jake driving around Bergen County, going from site to site, and the car says Stretch, you know, follow him to the next Stretch Recovery Lounge, where you will get your first stretch for free. Everybody, right? Not just listeners of Get Up with Garrett, but everybody gets their first stretch free, which I think is a great marketing strategy. When you're that confident in your product, there's nothing wrong with giving a little taste for free, because it spreads great awareness, and I think that's a pretty damn good retention rate on that. I would venture. Anyway, if you want to get in touch with our friend Jake, again, his Instagram is Stretch Recovery Lounge. Shoot him a note. Tell him you heard him on Get Up with Garrett. Want to come in and take care of your body, and you know, just want to appreciate you, Jake, for your time, and hope everybody had a great day today. And Dougie, great to see you, and good luck with the baby.
Thanks,
and we'll catch up next week, and hopefully we'll have maybe the hedges will be open by then. I'll let you know. So just remember, the more you give, the more you get, and see everybody later. Have a great day. Get me out of here, Dougie.